Come back to our Visual Builder tutorial. Today we are going to look at that tutorial number 4. I think it's sorry. Is look at the tutorial number. Today we are going to look at tutorial number 5. That is view customer tutorial. Okay, we are going to look at the customer information. Or we are going to look at the order by customer. What it says: create a view customer page with the item over. Basically, we are going to create a page with all the order for a customer. And then we are going to create we are going to use the rest to get the information. Then we are going to create a link from manage order to the customer page. Then we are also going to create a dynamic template so the customer information displayed. I'll show you what we are going to do. Then we'll get into the tutorial. Okay. Now we are going to implement one more button to get into the page. This basically call a page with a customer ID. Okay. When I say manage order, I thought they are going to can show a single order, but no. What they are going to do here is basically they are going to display the order by customer. It is as good as telling here Victor. Okay. Mostly this is what kind of they are going to do it with one more information here with the customer information. Let's see how they are going to do it. Now the whole information is coming for a Victor. Okay, Victor Morris, all this information is coming. It is processing all the order. Whatever order they are having, that is displayed here. Okay. And also you are going to get this kind of information, the customer number and the customer email address, customer name, and the initials. Okay, this is what we are going to do it. Now let's get into the tutorial, step by step, how to do this part. Here, we are going to create a view customer. Okay, I'm going to create a view customer, create a page, view customer. Okay, that is fine. We created the page called view customer. Okay, now let's close the application port. We go to that. What is that? That component. We are going to drag and drop the component called item overview page template. Okay, item overview page template. Okay. Now this has called something called parent page. Here we will rename that to basically it's going back to the parent page. So what we do, we rename that to manage orders. Okay, we go here. There's something called translation. Okay. Manage orders. Okay. That is done. Then there is a variable. When you are doing a variable, there is create a lot of variables. There is something called bidirectional. What it does, I have no idea. Basically, it goes. How come it can go to whether it goes to parent as well as a child, something like that. I don't know. So we are putting it false. So it is not a bidirectional. Okay, now we are coming back to the page here. Okay. Okay, we may not exactly go step by step. What we do, we complete everything from this page, then we move to that parent page. Okay. Now what happened? Here we have to create a list view. Okay, because we need to display the data. Okay, list view. We are going to. Okay, now we click that. The reason is this page need a mandatory, I mean, a required parameter called item ID. That's the reason it says that is there. Okay, it doesn't have a default. Okay. Now what we do here is we put it into that item view here, and we put in a main slab. Okay, now we call this part. Okay, now where do we get the data from? So we have to create a variable to get the data. The variable data is, if it is coming from this one, that is, they call it list order uh, service data provider, SDB. Okay, so the type is service data provider. Okay, when it is a service data provider, it need an endpoint. Okay, we go to services. We take that we have service here. RRA order. We also have RRA order. Some others probably have it. Anyway, we'll take this one. We take everything. We take all. Okay. Okay. What we want from here? We need a currency code. Basically, we are going to display the amount. So first of all, we'll take the currency code. We take the order date, ID, status. Then we go for a total amount. Okay. That's all we needed. Okay, now if you are looking for that variable, okay, now you go to the type. It might have created a type because you have to store the value, so it might have created a type. When you are looking at that item here, this item. If you want to add up more value, you can add a field from here and all stuff. You can do that from here. Okay. Like now if you go in endpoint, you can add a more. That's no problem. Okay. So the type is there, the variable is there. Now we have to put a kind of a validation because we are going to display the information for only one customer. So filter criteria will add that. Okay. We go for customer ID equivalent to item ID. Okay, because the variable is by default they are giving item ID. If you want to rename, you can rename it to customer ID. But I don't know where else it is used, how it is used, we have no idea. So we leave it as it is. You can try that later. Okay. Now you can also do order by. Okay, there is order by. We'll come later because the order by is not part of a tutorial. We can do that once we minimum we done the page. Okay, now page is done. The page design is done. Okay. Now what are we going to do from here is we are going to remove this list item layout. We are going to get from a list item template. Okay. We are deleting it. Delete. The row template, you are going to get the list item template. Okay. The child of the row template. Okay. Now list item template came here. Okay. Now what we do here first, we attach the data source in the list view. We go to the data. We choose the list SDB. We choose it. Okay. Now we attach the data source. Now we can work here with the data. Okay. Go to general. We define a badge. You know, badge is always a status. Status. It is the position is leading. The status we say that if it is okay, what we say here is status code equal to processing. You put it like whenever we are putting jobs, you put a double quote because the HTML might have put code this whole thing. Okay, processing. Okay, and if it is info, if it is processing info, and otherwise it is default. Whatever that is supposed to have default. Okay, that is it. I'm not seeing it here. Okay. That is right. Let's try to template. ED. What is the wrong in that? Okay, this is wrong. This is wrong. Okay, sorry, column. Okay, this is info all default. Okay, be careful when you are doing it. Like last time I had a problem, I made some mistakes here. Finally, the whole HTML is I couldn't able to delete it when I had to delete the page. So whenever you are playing with that HTML, please be careful. Okay. Now look at the code. Always go and look at the code, how the code is written. We are looking here list view which has got a current data order status. The bad position is leading. The bad status. Even you can go and change the code here also. That's it. Okay. The badge listener. Now we go to the data. We define our columns. Okay. The first column we are defining that is okay. We say order. Okay. And we can put a column. It is the order number. The first one is the order number. Order number. Okay. The second one is the order date. The date has to come through a for function. Am I right? So application function format date. Okay. Within that, you drag and drop the date, order date, because the function is defined in the previous. Okay, order date is there. That is fine. Now we go to the design data. Okay, the date is coming here. Now we go to the column. We create one more column to define the values. Okay, so we say order value. Okay, they are not telling it to do the this one. Just we put that. Okay, here when you are bringing this one, again a function because we are application application functions. Okay, just we go back, remove that part. Format currency. Okay, you have to have currency code, the first parameter, and total amount same parameter. So it will convert them into a currency format with a currency code. Okay, it is done. So order value. Okay, that is done. So now what? Now basically we try to call that the information from the parent. Okay. Page that is manage order. In the manage order, okay, we are going to add one more basically a icon. We go to the list item template. Okay, the second action we are going to add one more action called action ID is view customer. Okay, action ID is label is let me check what they are giving it. This is what we needed. Okay. view customer. That is a view customer. Uh, Label is view customer. I'm more interested in the icon name. Yes, I see overview. Okay. Now, if you are looking at that, okay, if I'm minimizing, okay, I go to here. I will run the page. Let's see. You got the icon. If you are clicking the icon, now you are going to get a delete function only because there is only one action on the secondary actions. Okay. See, that is what it's going to do because we have done that. Now, what we have to do in the action, we have to say that specifically what do you do when you are doing a delete, what do you do when you are doing a view. Okay. Now, what we do that is for that. Okay, we come to the list template. Okay, list template. We go to here. So delete order is a view customer. Okay, this is ID. Basically, this is ID is passed in. Now I'll show you how it is passed in. Okay. Now I'm going to the event. We have written only one event. We can go from here. Okay. Now we are going here. Now I put yet a message here, and I'm going to display a action ID. Okay, action ID. Now I'm going to refresh the page. Now you see that how the action ID is passed in. That is displayed. Okay, these are not part of a tutorials. I'm trying to explain how it is working. Okay, now I do a draft. So I'm choosing a draft so that this will be enabled. See that the delete order. This is what it is. I'm cancelling it. So I'm coming here. This says view customer. So this is that the ID is passed into that action. So now what we do here is we play with that action. Now what I do here, there's a two way you can say that you can put a if condition or you can put a switch condition. I think we already have done a if condition, so we go for a switch. Switch on what? Switch on action ID. Okay. Switch on action ID. That is done. Okay. Now what do you do here? First you say that open dialog, you put it here. Okay, now when you are doing a dialog, it says delete order. Okay. Okay. Now the second one, what we are going to do here is we are going to navigate to that page. Am I right? So that is what you are going to do. So that is called view customer. Okay. Create. That is done. So now you don't need a notification here. Now I am removing the notification. You know what it does. So with navigation to where? That is, we have to define navigation to a page. Okay. Which page? That is view customer. So the view customer need two things. One is basically you are passing a customer ID to the view customer, so that will be filtered accordingly. And the second thing is you are sending the current page ID to the parent as a parent page, so it knows where to come back. Okay, now item ID, put that. Okay. Item ID we have to put a current, I think current data customer ID. I think this is current data customer ID. doing it. The parent page is hard coded. Am I right? Manage orders. I believe that's right. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. So basically now we can run the page. I can check it how this is working. Okay. First of all, make sure the delete is working fine. Then we make sure, like, we go for a. Now that delete order is working fine. That's fine. Now this is going okay. It is happening here. Yeah. Now the manage order is really coming back. So basically, it is working. Now what is happening here is now we try to order this one by a date. Now see that. Okay, we can order by order ID, but order ID since is a string, we do it by a date. Okay. Now let's see. Okay, that is also not part of that. Tutorial. They are not talking about order ID. We go here, type. We take that variable. Sorry, we go to the variable. We choose the variable that DSP. No, sorry. We have that is a view customer variable DSP. There is something. If you are looking here, there is something called order by ID. Okay. Okay. Now what we do here. This is not available here. Okay. No, the data is not available here. Now we can look at that how it is defined here. Okay, now the customer ID, they are not telling a variable, blah, blah, they are not telling, they are directly telling customer ID. Then we can use the same logic. Okay, so order date. It's an expression, not a static. Okay, save. Okay, now how does it look like? We can go to JSON file. Okay, look for a order date. See, this is here the letting attribute has to be order by order date is working. Let's see whether it's working or not. Okay, I'm also trying. Let's see. Now we are going here. We're going to the manage orders. We are basically querying it. Twenty-seven, 27, 27. Yeah, it is look like it's working. 28, 28, 29. Yeah, it is order-wise perfectly working. So we also basically order the item by date. Okay, now we go back to the tutorial. The tutorial basically says us we have to define a now that dynamic form. Okay, now what we do? We go to that quick start. We configure the detail form. We take RRA customer. This one we take it. We go to the next one. There is a view customer. You can type it is automatically ID for you. Go to the field. We are taking a order customer number and we are taking customer this one. We are not taking, we can customer name and all. They want to do it like dynamically. Let's see why it is we'll get into that later. Okay. Now we have to say which customer. So basically we have to put the criteria. Okay. Now that is the expression. Okay. Now, how does it look? Suppose look here, but I'm not seeing a data. Let's see how does it work. I hope it works. Okay, I'm querying it again. Basically refreshing it. I'm going to here. Sarah Murphy. Okay, the customer number email is appearing. That's what exactly we want to do that. Now the only thing I don't understand is how do I rename this part? That the label part, how do I rename? I have no idea. Let's see if there is any options there. Okay. Okay. The name is email address is here. Even the tutorial does not talk about naming it. We'll see that. Okay. Basically create a what's that called? Initial here. Now we just follow the tutorial. That's easy because I don't remember that code exactly. Okay. Now what we are doing is in the REST API. Okay. People, I'll tell you when you are adding this the dynamic page, it automatically create a variable for you. Okay, that is RRA customer, RRA customer detail for loading status, RRA customer for this one. Okay, it's created a three variables. It's also created type. Okay, RRA getting a customer type. Okay, but it doesn't have any column. Okay, where it is coming from? If you are looking at the layout, you can see the layout here. Create a view customer layout here. You are clicking that. Okay, you go for it. Okay, now you can look at here. Okay, ID, customer number. Okay, I think probably we can modify this one. To allow me to modify customer number. Why I can't modify this one? Customer is here, right? Okay, let me look at the JSON file. Customer, RRA customer, customer number, display properties, email address. It asks for display properties is the form, layout form, display property, customer number. This one is the, where is the customer. Okay, how do I read that? Rule set, I go to the rule set. Can I change the, no, it is not allowing me to, it is not allowing me to change it. Okay, can I change the label hint? Should be, but should I have done it first time? Let's see. I add a customer name here. It is not allowing me to add customer name here. I go here. No, they are not allowing me to change it. I don't know. They are not. I don't know why they are not allowing me to change that part. This is probably we have changed it. It should work as it is. And when you go to JSON, JSON also is not there because there's a default. That's the reason you might not writing it here. Let's come here. Is there anything right click we say? No, nothing can be changed here. That is strange. Or did they we supposed to do it when we are creating it? I have no idea. Okay. Anyway, it is not allowed to change it. Now, what we do here is they are dynamically going to ask us to add three more columns. So they are creating a kind of array variable and type is string. This is the default value. Basically, they are putting customer ID, first name, last name. Okay. Now let's see. We are going into the page. Okay, you are creating a variable. It is an array. Create array of what it is? Array of string. Okay, array of string. What is the default value? They say what is the default value. Basically, they are adding a customer ID first name last name. Okay, the customer ID first name last name is basically nothing but they are trying to get it from here. If you are looking at here, the customer ID will be here, and there will be a first name last name. This is what they are trying to get it. But I don't understand why they are not getting it from here. Okay, if we are getting it from here, possibly it is also adding into that uh, the area. That's the reason they don't want to do that. That's what I guess. But I don't know. There's no explanation for that. Okay. Okay. Now we got the variable. Now what they are doing here is after that, okay, map the fetch field parameter. Okay, the fetch fields. This is okay. They are going here. From rendering field, say fetch field. Now we go here. Variables. So the variable here. This is what they are talking about. The fetch field. Now let's see here. They say here system field variable, the property and fetch field input parameter. Now let's see here. The name is render fields. So render field. I'm not seeing the fetch field here. Let me look at the picture. Okay, events. It is in the events. Okay, we are going to the events. Okay, the fetch field is here. Okay, it is mapped. Okay, here what are we mapping with? Variable RRA customer detail form render fields. Okay, variables. The variables basically this is the variable we have item ID to. Customer ID fetch field. Render to that variable RRA customer. Do we have that variable RRA customer here? Customer login ranger field. Yeah. That what is that? Item 0. No, that's all we are mapping it. Now what we are going to do is we are going to add that default one to here. That's all we are going to do. Okay, in that case, they are telling is page variable default field, page variable default field. We added that with the concatenating with this one. So basically, like this is adding that to this one. Okay, now the default field is added first. The reason is that is that it's a kind of a constant. So we know that this one we don't know it is going to bring a field or not. We don't know. So that's what they are doing it here. I go back to the page. Okay. Save. Okay. Customer ID also mapped. Customer ID is mapped with item ID. Okay. Here this is and all they did themselves. Luckily we haven't changed the item ID into customer ID or something like that. Like for example, we are looking at that. See, this is internally they matched with the item ID. If you might have changed to customer item ID to customer ID, variable, it may not work. This is what the problem with the templates. It is very like, kind of a very tightly related. You don't have much flexibility of changing. For example, last is not item, it is a customer ID. So you can't change it. You have to be a bit careful on that part. Okay, now let's see how does it works. Now, are they telling anything else to do that? Okay, now the customer name, the title of the car on the page. Okay, now where are we? That is done. Okay, now we are going to that title of the customer. View customer, click page designer tab, select the item overview component. Okay, here basically we are telling that this is what. Okay. Okay, what it is doing here is the first name is null, or first name is null, then basically you get a one space. Then you are adding a space. The way your customer last name is null, then you are adding a one space. That's all we are doing here. Okay. Now we are going to basically here we are going to that view customer page designer. Okay, we are closing this part. We are closing the structure. Okay, item overview. Is it we have a title? Okay. I saw the avatar page title. Okay, the title is here. Okay, title can go here. Can enter. You are copying paste here. Basically, you remove this two part, it will be automatically added. Okay, that is the automatic my page. Okay, bracket is okay. Okay, now let's see how does it works. Going back. Okay, Sarah Murphy. The name came here. Okay, now we also got a name as a header to that. The customer number. This one is here. Okay, it's fine here. Okay, now what we do? Now we have to basically create a icon for that first name, last name icon. So for that, you are going to create a function. Okay, basically there is a function called get initials, first name, last name, return init converter utils. So that is probably this is what is coming from converter utils. Init converter utils. That's what is coming. You are importing it. Then that is that passed in. Then that's what you are doing here. Okay. Okay, which level we are doing it? Customer page level. We are not doing it in application level. We are doing it at customer page level. Okay, JavaScript. Just replace this on the new function. That is done. And you go to that view customer. View customer. I think probably we are changing the avatar. Okay, we are calling the function with the first name, last name. Okay. So that is all we are going to do that. We go to the page here, page designer. Avatar is here because the header will change it. Changing the. Okay, we have to go here and do that. That's better. Okay. Okay, go here. We put that. Save here. That square bracket. Okay. All that is changing now. What else we have it here? You have the badge, display options. What's the display option is here? I don't know what's the display options. Expanded, expanded, expanded automatically faded. Selected. You have to test all these. What is the sub like? Subtitle, photos, actions. You have to say what's the even here? Expand collage check. Okay. Okay. Yeah, basically you have to understand the every properties. Now we go here, manage order. We refresh the page. Once we refresh the page, we click the icon. I hope it brings everything. I don't see that. So let me go and check what is happening here. Okay, turn over here. Turn over. I think I has to put it here. That is the problem. Like this is the second time I'm doing the same mistake. You have to go to the avatar sub property. Okay. Okay. What happened? Okay. Now let's see. Refresh again. But I'm not sure if it is a sub property is there. Why they are allowing to enter in the main property? I don't understand that part. No. Still, what are we doing with avatar? If the sub properties are avatar, enter the initial. Again, we are doing it. Okay. Avatar, enter the initial. Not image overshield. It is initial. Okay. Again, we are doing it. Font. Okay. Now what happened? By hard code the initial what happened? Just I want to see that. Okay. It is fine. It is working fine. Say TM, something like that. Do they work? Let's reverse the page. Pressing the page. Yeah, that is working. Okay. So basically, like you can get that first two letters. That the name of it. That's what is doing it. Is working fine. Good. And so we do one more time. Go to the manage orders. Manage orders. I will refresh. By the time we'll see what is happening here. Refreshing it. Okay. Okay. We are they asking to push the data change. So we are not doing it because we are using the same code to like go for the next tutorial too. So we are not pushing it. It's slow, but that's fine. So the job is done here. Okay, yeah, we also did the order by, so there is nothing to change. The only thing is I couldn't do that is the customer name. For that, let's see. I have to basically I have to like redo the whole thing. The reason is I cannot go and modify this part. Once you've done the quick start, it won't allow you to change it. And let me check that JSON or something is there. List that is basically coming from the RRA. Coming from here only it is, but here also it is not allowing us to change it. So there should be a if you know exactly, if you know that the property what is has to be changed, we can do that. Like, JSON here. The display properties, it says customer name, this one email order, but we don't know what is. This is probably that then we should have some property called little. Do we have any? I think okay, this is how the tutorial is done. Let me check myself. If I find something, I'll let you know later. Anyway, I'm not. Okay, that's all for the tutorial. Thank you. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Otherwise, we will see you in that next tutorial. That is, I think, the final tutorial. Okay, bye.